Have you ever reached the end of a really busy day and thought, where did all the time go? You've been doing things all day. You've answered messages, dealt with other people's needs, ticked things off your list, taken care of the things that had to be done. And yet somehow the things that actually mattered to you didn't get done. Or perhaps they did get done, but only after everything else had taken priority. If that sounds familiar, I want you to stay with me for this episode because I'm going to share a very simple shift that can change the way you think about your time. It isn't another productivity system designed to help you squeeze even more into your day. In fact, it's almost the opposite. It's about learning to decide what deserves your time before the demands of the day decide for you. And I'm going to show you a simple way to organize your day around what you actually want, what you genuinely have to do, and the things you can finally let go of. So let's start with the question that sits underneath all of this. What if you don't actually need more time? What if you need to choose differently? Kia ora and hello. Welcome to the Living Midlife Well podcast. I'm Janine Lattimore, a well-being coach here to help people in midlife get off the treadmill of stress and exhaustion, rediscover their joy, and create a life that is aligned with who they really are and what they really want. Today, we're talking about reclaiming your time. And as you listen, I'd like you to keep one idea in the back of your mind. Your time is one of the ways you create your life. We're going to look first at why so many of us feel as though there is never enough time. Then I'll explain why some traditional approaches to prioritizing tasks don't necessarily work very well for our personal lives. And then I'll take you through the simple system I've developed, including my three categories of want to, have to, and should, and show you how you can use them to create a day that has more of you in it. Let's get into it. Do you ever get to the end of the day and wonder where all your time went? You may have been busy from the moment you woke up. You answered messages, dealt with other people's needs, worked through your list, did the things that needed doing, and perhaps even squeezed in a few things you thought you should do. Yet somehow, the things that mattered most to you didn't get much of your time at all. For years, I thought my problem was that I didn't have enough time. What I've come to realize is that the problem wasn't really time. It was what I was choosing to give my time to. If your days are organized around everything that is urgent, expected, requested, and necessary, there will always be more to do. The question isn't how you can fit everything into your day. It's whether the things filling your day are actually the things you want your life to be made of. Let me ask you a few more questions to help us see more clearly where this feeling of never having enough time comes from. Do you get up in the morning and just launch into responding to other people's needs and calls for attention and doing what you think needs to be done? Is checking your messages, email, and social media on your phone the first thing that you do when you wake up? Are you constantly responding to what is urgent? Does your to-do list start forming in your head the moment your eyes open from sleep, or even in your dreams? I don't ask those questions from a place of judgment. I ask them from a place of curiosity, and I invite you to do the same. If you can identify with any of that, then here's my next question for you. How does it feel to live that way? For me, it felt overwhelming, stressful, like I was constantly rushing and running on a daily grind treadmill. It felt like there was never enough time. Can you relate to any of that? If so, I'm going to share one simple idea in this episode that can help. And this is where I want to make our first important shift. Because if the problem isn't simply that we don't have enough time, perhaps the answer isn't to become better and better at cramming things into the time we have. Perhaps we need to look at what we're prioritizing in the first place. One of my favorite quotes from Stephen Covey, author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. I love this idea because it sounds like a small distinction, but actually it's quite a profound one. Prioritizing what is on your schedule is about organizing what is on your to do list. Scheduling your priorities means consciously choosing what goes on the list in the first place. And that distinction is really the heart of what I'm talking about today. So let's look at why our usual approach to managing tasks can leave us feeling as though we're constantly trying to catch up. To-do lists normally form around responsibilities, demands, requests, needs, and what is urgent. They are normally compiled in response to the world around us. Task checklists like this have a way of snowballing. Once they start rolling, they tend to pick up any other task that needs to be done, and we don't usually stop to prioritize what is going on the list. We just organize how the list will be completed in relation to time. That is why to do lists have a habit of becoming very long, sometimes even unending. And we feel like we're running on a mouse wheel trying to keep up with getting everything done. The most common methods for prioritizing tasks still work from this same principle of organizing what the world is asking you. For example, the following methods are all still largely focused on tasks that are urgent, important, and must be done. The Eisenhower matrix divides tasks into 4 boxes: do first, which is urgent and important tasks; schedule, which is important, not urgent tasks; delegate, which is urgent, not important tasks; and delete, which is neither. The ABCDE method labels tasks from A, which is must do, high consequence, to E, eliminate, to focus on what truly moves the needle. The 2+8 rule involves picking 2 must do tasks and 8 should do tasks the evening before so that you start your day with clear focus. Now, I'm not saying these methods are bad. They can be very useful, particularly when you're organizing work and trying to manage a large number of tasks. However, there is something important to consider when we're talking about your life rather than simply your workload. And that's where we get to the next part of this conversation. These methods may be helpful for organizing your work schedule, but if you organize your personal life this way, you are likely to feel dissatisfied, unfulfilled, and disconnected from yourself. That is because this way of thinking is centered around responding to what is happening in the world, rather than creating your life in terms of how you want it structured, and possibly more importantly, how you want it to feel. Living in response to everything around us often leads to a sense of there being no you in your life. It can result in a strong desire to escape your life, usually through things that temporarily help us feel good, like sweet food, alcohol, drugs, and impulse buying. When your life is constructed solely around all the things you must do, have to do, are responsible for, are urgent, or are asked of you, then it is understandable if you procrastinate and avoid tasks or feel anxious or depressed. So, if you've been listening and thinking, yes, that is exactly what happens to me, don't worry, I'm not going to leave you there. This is the point where we turn from the problem to the solution. And the solution starts with a question that we don't always put on our to do lists. What do I actually want? Now, at this point, I would like to ask that if you are finding this episode helpful or interesting, that you please take a moment to give it a like and subscribe to receive more. Thanks so much. Okay, back to the solution to the problem. One way that I've come up with to shift this is a system that works more on scheduling your priorities. The key difference with this system is that I include a category that I haven't seen in any other scheduling system: what you want to do. This category is probably not usually included because it is commonly viewed as selfish and or unproductive. However, it is the key to feeling fulfilled in your life. You can feel a sense of satisfaction or success in ticking off the boxes for completing urgent, must do, and productively or responsibly important tasks. But you will never feel truly fulfilled unless you include your desires in your to do list. Here is how this system works. And I'm going to walk you through it step by step because I want this to be something that you can actually try rather than simply an interesting idea to think about. The first step is a very small change, but I think it makes a surprisingly big difference. It's a language shift because the language that we use shapes how we think. I like to call a list of action points a task focus list rather than a to do list. To do sounds like a command. It has a heavy energy of effort and responsibility attached to it. Task focus list has an energy of choice, a sense of this is what I choose to focus on today. There are two parts to creating your daily task focused list: categorizing and prioritizing. For the categorizing part, we create a category framework to brainstorm all the tasks for the day. Before we start deciding what comes first, we're going to make sure we're actually looking at the whole of your life. To create the category framework, divide a piece of paper or a notebook page into 4 even rectangles or squares. Give each of these boxes one of the following 4 life categories as a heading. The reason for doing this is that thinking about tasks for each of these areas will help you to maintain balance in your life. These are the 4 life category headings. Number 1, personal, with the subheadings physical, mental, spiritual. Number 2, relationships and social. Number 3, work and finances. Number 4, home creation and maintenance. I have included 3 subheadings in the personal section, which are physical, mental, and spiritual. These are to prompt you to consider all of these aspects of your personal well-being every day. You can interpret spiritual in any way that resonates with you. It includes things like values, connection to nature, meditation, ancestors and heritage, life force, soul, or religious or spiritual beliefs. Now, once you've got those 4 areas in front of you, we're going to do something that can feel quite freeing. We're going to get everything out of your head. Once you have this framework drawn up, then brainstorm and write down everything you think you want to do, as well as the tasks you think you need to do, have to do, or should do in each of the 4 boxes. After you've done that, notice whether some categories have a lot more tasks than others, and whether there are areas you could bring more focus to. You don't need to try and fix anything at this point. Simply use it as awareness of the ways that you may like to bring more balance into your life. And now we've reached what I think is the really important part of this system. You've got all the tasks out of your head. You've looked at the different areas of your life. Now we're going to decide what actually deserves your attention. And this is where the 3 categories come in. After you've brainstormed all the activities that you have in your awareness to do, then color code each item as being in one of 3 categories: want to, have to, or should, as in I should do. I find using a multicolored pen the easiest way to do this, but if you want to be more artistic with it, then go right ahead. Tasks that can be categorized as want to are both tasks that you feel interested and excited to do, and tasks that you may not feel like doing, but they are connected to your personal desires or values. They are tasks that are related to what you are interested in and what you value and what matters most to you. For example, you may not feel like going to your gym class, But looking after your health and connecting socially with people may be a high value for you. So it would be a want to task, even though you may not feel emotionally excited about it. Make the want to tasks into your priority for the day. This is backwards to what we are commonly taught, so it may feel uncomfortable, but give yourself permission to do what you want to do. Prioritize your top three want to tasks and schedule them into your day first. If you can do them at the start of the day, then do so to avoid them getting shunted because your time goes to other things over the course of the day. Next, look closely at the have to jobs and decide if you do really have to do it or whether it can be let go or delegated to someone else. Now, here I'd say parents, think about the things you are doing for your kids that they could be doing for themselves. Many times, the things we think we have to do, we don't really have to do. Look at your final have to list and prioritize the top three. Focus on getting these done second, unless they have to be done at a certain time. Most of us frequently don't get through all of our daily to-do lists. By prioritizing the top three, you know you at least have a good chance of getting the most important things done. Completely let go of any tasks that you have categorized as should. Cross them off your list. Whenever we think we should do something, we are responding to the desires and expectations of other people rather than our own. Shoulds are not actually your responsibilities to carry or to fulfill. Let them go, or assign them to the person who is actually responsible for them. Also, be aware that we often create shoulds for ourselves based on what we think will please other people. So just pause here for a moment. If you've been listening while you're walking, driving, making dinner, or having your morning coffee, I want you to think about your own list. How many things on it are things you want to do? How many are things you genuinely have to do? And how many are simply things you think you should do? That distinction alone can be quite revealing. And we're not finished yet, because the next step is about taking those priorities and actually putting them into your day. You now have a task focus list that is prioritized in terms of what is most important to you, and you can begin scheduling the tasks. Block in the tasks that have to be done at a certain time, like picking up your children from school, and then work through the other tasks in terms of their want to and have to priority order. Whether you assign set time frames for each task is up to you. Personally, I find that if I give all my tasks a time schedule, then it creates pressure for me and stress when I can't keep to it, which is most of the time. Instead, I schedule by order rather than time. So the order I do things in rather than the time I will do them. And this is another part of the system that I think is worth noticing. You don't necessarily need to turn your whole day into a tightly controlled timetable. For me, simply knowing the order in which I will approach things feels much more supportive than trying to predict exactly how long everything will take. In terms of where you write the schedule, personally, I handwrite my schedule on paper because I prefer to be able to see the whole list at a glance, and I like to physically cross things off. However, if you have a digital scheduling system that you like using, then you can add your prioritized tasks to that. This all helps you to schedule your priorities. But of course, life doesn't stop just because you've made a plan. Things happen. People ask things of us. New tasks appear through the day. So what do you do then? If other tasks or demands come up over the day, think about them in terms of these three categories rather than simply reacting to them automatically. Are they a want to, a have to, or a should? This is where the system starts to become more than just a planning exercise. It becomes a way of making decisions throughout the day. Instead of automatically saying yes to every new demand, you have a simple question you can ask yourself before giving it your time. Now, in real life, I use scrap paper for my planning. I find it easier for my neurodivergent brain to freely create and make connections when I'm not trying to be tidy. It is the process that is important rather than the prettiness of it. But for those of you who like things to be neat or just want a printed guide, then I have created a planning template which you can download as a PDF and print off. I will put the link to that in the show notes. We've now covered the whole process. We've looked at why conventional task lists can leave us feeling dissatisfied or overwhelmed. We've looked at why simply getting better at organising everything isn't necessarily the answer. And we've created a way to identify what you want, what you have to do, and what you can let go of. Now, let's talk about what happens when you start doing this consistently. This planning process might sound quite complicated, but once you work through it, you will see that it is simple to use and only takes 5 to 10 minutes. You can do it early in the morning or in the evening to prepare for the next day, which may help settle your mind to sleep by getting the invisible load out of your head. If you are like me, then your active brain just wants to get stuck into completing tasks, and taking time to plan like this feels like a waste of time. However, I know from experience that it is definitely not. It is an investment of time that reduces your stress and increases your productivity, as well as your level of personal satisfaction and fulfillment. Planning your day in this way gives you clarity and focus. When you are clear and focused, you are far more likely to give your time, attention, and energy to what truly matters to you. You are also much more likely to receive or achieve your desires. In addition to this, I find that having a clear task focus list that is prioritized in terms of what is most important to me helps me to be more intentional, and I am less likely to let days pass by doing fluff tasks and spending hours being distracted. Deciding what you want and moving purposefully towards it sends a clear message for other people to respond to. It also helps you to let go of all the tasks and people that don't contribute to that. It can act as a foundation which helps you to release expectations and responsibilities that are not in accordance with your authentic self. Usually, these are shoulds. Additionally, it simplifies your life, reduces the amount of stress you feel, and opens space for creative flow. Trying to keep an invisible load of tasks and responsibilities in your head uses up attention and brain memory and processing space that could be directed to other things. It drains your energy. Using this planning system helps you to reclaim your time and energy and direct them towards looking after yourself and doing what is most important. Putting more you into your life increases your level of life satisfaction. This has a bonus effect on your energy because when you feel more fulfilled mentally and emotionally, then you feel more energized and you are less likely to engage in distracting behaviors which drain your energy, like mindlessly scrolling on your phone or watching TV, eating or drinking things that harm your health, or managing your money poorly, leading to financial stress. And this brings us back to where we started. Maybe the issue isn't that there aren't enough hours in your day. Maybe the issue is that too much of your time is being claimed by things that aren't actually important to you. Reclaiming your time doesn't necessarily mean finding more hours in the day. It means becoming more conscious about what you choose to give those hours to. When you stop automatically organizing your life around everyone else's demands, the things that feel urgent, and the endless list of things you think you should do, you create space to ask a more important question. What actually matters to me? Your time is one of the ways you create your life. When you consciously prioritize the things you want, value, and care about, you begin to put more of you back into your days. You will likely still have responsibilities, things that need doing, and unexpected demands on your time, but they no longer have to determine the shape of your entire life. You don't need to do everything. You don't even need to fit everything in. You can decide what matters most and give that your time first. As we come to the finish of this episode, I want to leave you with a practical takeaway that I call just one thing. My just one thing action point for you this week is to try this planning system out just once and see how you find it. It may work for you, it may not. That's okay. Either way, I invite you to think about what you learned from trying it out. I would also love to hear any feedback you have about this planning system. Was it easy to use? What did you like about it? What would you change about it? Remember, if you want to use the planning template that I've created for this, then the free download link is in the show notes. And if you found this episode useful, I'd really appreciate you sharing it with someone who you think might benefit from it. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If you found this interesting or helpful, then please remember to like and subscribe and leave a comment or review. This supports me and also helps other people find this information and benefit from it. Until next time, keep living midlife well. Aroha nui, much love. I'm Janine, and I look forward to connecting again on the next episode. Bye for now.